This phone is coming to crush all of its competitors with this global version that they just launched at MWC 2024. Xiaomi 14 is coming with a lot of power, beauty, and some cool features that is making things really uncomfortable for its counterparts inside this space. And the best part, the consumers get to enjoy all the benefits of this smartphone tug of war that they have going on. Let's get into it. Now, even though this might seem like the baby sibling of the Xiaomi 14 series lineup, you're getting a whole lot of pro features here. As a matter of fact, there's not too much difference between this and the 14 Pro, apart from the obvious larger display and the higher resolution, of course. But I guess everything else you could consider is about 98%, 99% the same across both phones. So let's start with that. This is a really sleek, compact device that might seem a little standard or boring from a spectator's eye, but when you come closer and you hold it in your hand, that's when you realize this is a really solid and premium feeling device. And it might not be that heavy, but when you hold it in your hand, it gives you that that kind of whispers prime choice. And the theme for this year's phone is flat, matte, flat, and glossy. Let me break it down. You get a flat Gorilla Glass Victus on the front, and this display is really pretty, by the way, but we'll come back to that later. And there's a matte finish on the back that hides fingerprint really well. Unless you're eating some fried chicken. But other than that, it hides fingerprint really well, and I like that. And you get these flat rails that is giving off major iPhone vibes. And that's not the only iPhone vibey thing here, but I'm just saying. And these rails are really glossy, really shiny. It could potentially be a slip hazard if you have sweaty palms like I do. So you might need to get yourself a case, or you could just use the one included inside the box. But at least they got the ergonomics right. The edges are smoothed out really well with a curved back panel that sits contour in my hand, and it doesn't kind of dig into the meaty part of my palm like, you know, the Galaxy and the boxy iPhone edges have done in the past. So yes, it feels good, and I like that. Of course, the 6.36-inch AMOLED display is beautiful. What did we expect? It is a high-resolution Quad HD Plus, high refresh rate, 1 to 120 Hz LTPO 12-bit panel with a brightness that peaks out at about 3000 nits. That is way brighter than the iPhone 15 Pro, which peaks out at about 2000 nits, and the S24 Ultra, which I have right here, that peaks at about 2600 nits. So colors are still vibrant and clear, even in direct sunlight. And yes, it supports Dolby Vision HDR10 Plus and the DCI-3 color gamut. But I think that frameless vanishing bezel is absolutely made for consuming content, and it makes them look really good. Oh, also, the stereo speakers are really impressive in my opinion. It is actually a true stereo setup that can get very loud with a pretty balanced sound, nice clear highs, somewhat detailed mid-range, and some surprisingly punchy bass.
Conversations back and forth like damn, we could go on for days. Looking back at it like damn, she bad when she walk away. Here we go, been down this road. Purple clouds taste like lemon haze. Conversations back and forth like damn, we could go on for days. Looking back at it like damn, she bad when she walk away. Here we go, been down this road. They already know when we go on tour, I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. People talk about us like they understand just what this is. I just wanna.
So I really like how they paired this beautiful display with some great sound and it creates a truly immersive, entertaining experience that is undeniable. But like I said earlier, this thing is bringing a lot of power with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 octa-core chipset and the Adreno 750 GPU paired with some really fast RAM and some super fast UFS 4.0 storage. I don't think that I have to tell you that this thing eats up every task that you serve it up like an appetizer before the main course, and it games like a champ. It supports dual 5G SIM cards, no expansion here, but that's not a problem because I think the lowest you get in this is about 256, 8 gigs of RAM, and it's all 512, 12 gigs of RAM up from there. And it is IP68 certified to keep you safe from spills and splashes, and you still get that super useful IR blaster, but now they kind of stuck it inside the camera island, but it's still used just the same way it used before. And the fingerprint scanner is super fast. After a one-time setup, it never miss, it never stutter. The battery is not that large at 4,610 milliamp hours, but what you lack in capacity, it makes up for in performance and charging speed. Plus, they give you that 90-watt fast charging adapter inside the box, which is rated to charge this up to 100% in 31 minutes. And it supports 50-watt wireless charging, which should give you about 100% in 46 minutes. But your mileage may vary. However, they did increase the reverse wireless charging to 10 watts. And I mean, overall, the battery performance is pretty good, especially once it learns your usage and it adjusts accordingly. So because iProOS is so new, I'm gonna be covering it in a completely separate video where I'm gonna be going over all the different features and their benefits that they added. But so far, what I've noticed is that iProOS is a more polished version of MIUI that is nestled in an AI-based ecosystem that should seamlessly integrate everything that you do with your IoT devices, your wearable, smart homes, smart cars, and all that kind of stuff, and should make your life much simpler. But like I say, I'm gonna be covering it in a lot more detail. So until then, just stay tuned. But they did promise that they're gonna be giving you 4 years of updates and about 5 years of security patches. So you're good, you're Gucci for 4 years. All right, so let's talk about the pièce de résistance, which is ultimately this smartphone's claim to fame, since all of the other stuff that we just talked about are premium specs. That is making some of the competition look really bad. But any one of these specs can be replicated by any one of these big players in the game. But what might not be so easy is one of the reasons why right now Xiaomi can't shut up about their partnership with Leica cameras, which Leica came in and sprinkled a little bit of their Similux optics pixie dust on what was already a great set of camera sensors and make them really magical and DSLR-like. So in true flagship form, you get a comprehensive triple 50 camera lineup that is the same here as with the 14 Pro, which is a 50 megapixel f1.6 23mm wide angle lens with phase detection autofocus, laser autofocus, and optical image stabilization. A 50 megapixel f2.0 75mm telephoto lens with phase detection autofocus, optical image stabilization, and a minimum focus distance of just 10 centimeters, which give you a macro lens, as well as a 50 megapixel f2.2 14mm 115-degree ultra-wide lens, all with the Leica Similux optics coating and the Leica image color science. You also get the same 32 megapixel f2 22mm wide angle lens that can now shoot 4K at 60 frames per second. For ever since I've been shooting on a lot of Chinese cameras, most of them have never been able to do 4K at even 30 frames per second, but now you got 4K 60. Kudos to you, Xiaomi. As you can see from the photos, this phone is one of the best in class smartphones, basically putting a boot on its competitor's neck. I'm pleasantly surprised with the vibrant detailed photos that it produced with excellent dynamic range, and the colors pop really nicely without looking too oversaturated. Samsung, we're looking at you. And the HDR does a great job at retaining highlights and the shadows. That f1.6 lens on the main camera sucks in a lot of light, and it gives this phone a serious edge with the low light shot that also keeps the indoor photos looking clean and with a lot of detail and low noise. I am going to be doing a dedicated camera review where I just put this phone through its paces, ultra wide, telephoto, and all the camera's new features, all of the new features that they had in it. So make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification, you don't want to miss that video. But as you can see, this phone is packing a major punch, effectively pulling the rug from under the S24 and iPhone 15's foot. On paper, this has everything. It is a small, big phone that is not pulling any punches, and it's probably one of the most complete flagship spec smartphone on the market right now. However, it is a little pricey, but it is still cheaper than most of the competition, and it's offering a lot more than they are right now. One of the only bad thing is it's not available here in North America, but you can get it as an import. I'm definitely going to leave some links down in the description where you can pick one up. Or if I can find it on Amazon, I'll definitely leave that link also. But for everybody else, just check the links down in the description. Let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, let me know if you want to see me do a comparison between the S24 Ultra and the Xiaomi 14. Hit the like button on your way out and leave your favorite emoji down in the comment section. Show your boy some love. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want to see that comparison. Just let me know. I really like this phone. It is a really compelling offer. I mean, if you look at the size, it is a little bit smaller than the S24 Ultra, but at the same time, it is packing a big punch. Until we meet again, yeah, it's your boy. Big up yourself.